A history of the old-fashioned black and tan English Shepherd. Historically, the old-fashioned black and tan English Shepherd dog was essential to the lives of many rural Tennesseans. But the utility of these all-purpose working dogs spread beyond the borders of Tennessee. In the southeast, black and tan English Shepherds were well known to farmers in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. To the west, these gritty dogs were especially useful to cattle ranchers in Texas. To the north, black and tan English Shepherd dogs earned a living on farmsteads throughout the Ohio River Valley. And further east, these dogs were well known to rural citizens of the Mid-Atlantic region. But the use and history of these farm dogs is particularly well documented in Tennessee. On dairy farms, cattle ranches, and in rural family homes, the black and tan English Shepherd provided a variety of essential services. Horace Curtis of Algood, Tennessee writes about his black and tans from the early 1900s. He tells of their ability to eradicate vermin, protect children, and drive cattle. At about the same time, John Blankenship's father rode into town on his old gray mare. Charles Blankenship of Wilson County kept a black and tan English Shepherd at his side to drive home the livestock he purchased. Further east, Walter Oglivie of Allisona pushed his cattle through the thick woods of the Cumberland Mountains. He followed on horseback while a pair of black and tan English Shepherds drove his stock over the narrow mountain paths. Upon reaching the railhead in Pikeville, Oglivie and his two dogs loaded the steers into train cars. It is difficult to overstate the influence of John and Pauline Blankenship on the old-fashioned black and tan English Shepherd bloodline. Over the span of 4 decades, the Blankenships bred dogs on their family farm in Rutherford County, Tennessee. John and Pauline Blankenship were master farmers, respected community leaders, and arguably the most prolific breeders of English Shepherds in the history of the breed. The Blankenships' dogs were selected and bred to bring in the cows, herd sheep, catch and hold hogs, and load livestock into loading chutes. Advertised as the world's best all-purpose dog, a Blankenship dog was also your faithful companion and an ardent night watchman. John Blankenship writes of a female black and tan English Shepherd named Queen, whose ancestry could be traced back 100 years through a line of purebreds in Tennessee. With his assertion, Blankenship establishes the existence of old-fashioned black and tan English Shepherds in Tennessee around 1850. Mr. and Mrs. Tom Stodghill traveled to Middle Tennessee in the early 1950s. Stodghill's grandfather was a native of Rutherford County named George Dromgoole. Dromgoole used black and tan English Shepherds to work his cattle. So when Dromgoole moved his family to Texas in the late 19th century, he brought his cattle dogs along with him. 60 years later, his grandson founded the English Shepherd Club of America in Quinlan, Texas. When Stodghill needed his new blood for his English Shepherd breeding program, he returned to Middle Tennessee. The Stodghills and the Blankenships spent several days together, traveling the rural counties of DeKalb, Jackson, Putnam, and Wilson. Their search bore fruit, finding Middle Tennessee families which had been using these dogs for generations to manage their livestock. The markings, performance, and behavior of the unregistered dogs led Stodghill and Blankenship to assert that they had been bred true down through the years. A number of these Middle Tennessee dogs were registered and used to form the foundation of the old-fashioned black and tan English Shepherd bloodline. Over the next several decades, the Blankenships, Stodghill, and other members of the ESCOA would proceed to breed and ship the descendants of Middle Tennessee's black and tan English Shepherds to all 50 states.